Chapter 14, Applying and Interviewing for Employment. Your resume is the centerpiece of your job search package, but it needs support from several other employment messages, including application letters, job inquiry letters, application forms, and follow-up notes. Whenever you mail, email, hand deliver, or upload your resume, you should include an application letter, also known as a cover letter, to let readers know what you're sending, why you're sending it, and how they can benefit from reading it. Even though this message is often not a printed letter anymore, many professionals still refer to it as a letter. Take the same care with your application letter that you took with your resume. A poorly written application letter can prompt employers to skip over your resume, even if you are a good fit for a job. Deciding if, when, and how to follow up after submitting your resume and application letter is one of the trickiest parts of a job search. First and foremost, keep in mind that employers continue to evaluate your communication efforts and professionalism during this phase, so don't say or do anything to leave a negative impression. Second, adhere to whatever instructions the employer has provided. If a job posting says no calls, for example, don't call. Third, if the job posting lists a close date, don't call or write before then because the company is still collecting applications and will not have made a decision about inviting people for interviews. Wait a week or so after the close date. If no close date is given and you have no other information to suggest a timeline, you can generally contact the company starting a week or two after submitting your resume. When you follow up by email or telephone, you can share an additional piece of information that links your qualifications to the position. Keep an eye out for late-breaking news about the company, too. And ask a question about the hiring process as a way to gather some information about your status. An employment interview is a meeting during which both you and the prospective employer ask questions and exchange information. The employer's objective is to find the best talent to fill available job openings. And your objective is to find the right match for your goals and capabilities. As you get ready to begin interviewing, keep two vital points in mind. First, recognize that the process takes time. Start your preparation and research early. The best job offers usually go to the best prepared candidates. Second, don't limit your options by looking at only a few companies. By exploring a wide range of firms and positions, you might uncover great opportunities that you would not have found otherwise. You'll increase the odds of getting more job offers too. Most employers interview an applicant multiple times before deciding to make a job offer. At the most selective companies, you might have a dozen or more individual interviews across several stages. Depending on the company and the position, the process may stretch out over many weeks or may be completed in a matter of days. Employers start with the screening stage, in which they filter out applicants who are unqualified or otherwise not a good fit for the position. The next stage of interviews, the selection stage, helps the organization identify the top candidates from all those who qualify. You may be invited back for final evaluation, often by a higher-ranking exec. The objective of the final stage is often to sell you on the advantages of joining the organization. Be prepared to encounter a variety of interviewing approaches. These can be distinguished by the way they are structured, the number of people involved, and the purpose of the interview. First, structured interview. Second, open-ended interview. Third, panel interview. Fourth, group interview. Fifth, behavioral interview. Sixth, situational interview. Seventh, working interview. And finally, the stress interview. Expect to be interviewed through a variety of media. Employers trying to cut travel costs and the demands on staff time now interview candidates via telephone, email, instant messaging, virtual online systems, and video conferencing, in addition to traditional face-to-face meetings. Interviews give employers a chance to go beyond the basic data of your resume to get to know you and to answer two essential questions. The first is whether you can handle the responsibilities of the position. Naturally, the more you know about the demands of the position and the more you've thought about how your skills match those demands, the better you'll be able to respond. The second essential question is whether you will be a good fit with the organization and the target position. In an effort to improve the predictability of the selection process, many employers now conduct a variety of pre-employment evaluations and investigations. Here are types of assessments you are likely to encounter during your job search: integrity tests, personality tests, cognitive tests, language proficiency, job knowledge and job skills tests, substance tests, background checks. Now that you're armed with insights into the interviewing and assessment process, you're ready to begin preparing for your interviews. Preparation will help you feel more confident and perform better under pressure, and preparation starts with learning about the organization. Employers expect serious candidates to demonstrate an understanding of the company's operations, its markets, and its strategic and tactical challenges. You've already done some initial research to identify companies of interest, but when you're invited to an interview, it's time to dig a little deeper. Making this effort demonstrates your interest in the company, and it identifies you as a business professional who knows the importance of investigation and analysis. Planning ahead for the interviewer's questions will help you handle them more confidently and successfully. In addition, you will want to prepare insightful questions of your own. Many general interview questions are stock queries you can expect to hear again and again during your interviews. Get ready to face these 5 at the very least. What is the hardest decision you've ever had to make? What is your greatest weakness? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? What didn't you like about the previous jobs you've held? Tell me something about yourself. Interviewing is stressful for everyone, so some nervousness is natural. However, you can take steps to feel more confident. Start by reminding yourself that you have value to offer the employer, and the employer already thinks highly enough of you to invite you to an interview. If some aspect of your appearance or background makes you uneasy, correct it if possible, or offset it by emphasizing positive traits such as warmth, wit, intelligence, or charm. Instead of dwelling on your weaknesses, focus on your strengths. Instead of worrying about how you will perform in the interview, focus on how you can help the organization succeed. As with public speaking, the more prepared you are, the more confident you'll be. Competence and confidence are the foundation of your interviewing style, and you can enhance them by giving the interview an impression of poise, good manners, and good judgment. You can develop a smooth style by staging mock interviews with a friend or using an interview simulator. Record these mock interviews so you can evaluate yourself. After each practice session, look for opportunities to improve. Pay close attention to the length of your planned answers as well. Interviewers want you to give complete answers, but they don't want you to take up valuable time or test their patience by chatting about minor or irrelevant details. Clothing and grooming are important elements of preparation because they reveal something about a candidate's personality, professionalism, and ability to sense the unspoken rules of a situation. Your research into various industries and professions should give you insight into expectations for business attire. If you're not sure what to wear, ask someone who works in the same industry, or even visit the company at the end of the day and see what employees are wearing as they leave the office. You don't need to spend a fortune on interview clothes, but your clothes must be clean, pressed, and appropriate. The following look will serve you well in just about any interview situation. Neat adult hairstyle. For more formal environments, a conservative business suit. For women, that means no exposed midriffs, short skirts, or plunging necklines, in dark solid color, or a subtle pattern such as pinstripes. White shirt and understated tie for men, coordinated blouse for women. For less formal environments, smart-looking business casual, including a pressed shirt or blouse and nice slacks or a skirt. Limited jewelry, men especially should wear very little jewelry. No visible piercings other than 1 or 2 earrings for women only. No visible tattoos. Stylish but professional-looking shoes. No extreme high heels or casual shoes. Clean hands and nicely trimmed fingernails. Little or no perfume or cologne. Some people are allergic and many people are put off by strong smells. Subtle makeup for women. And exemplary personal hygiene. When you go to your interview, take a small notebook, a pen, a list of the questions you want to ask, several copies of your resume, protected in a folder, an outline of what you have learned about the organization, and any past correspondence about the position. You may also want to take a small calendar, a transcript of your college grades, a list of references, and a portfolio containing samples of your work, performance reviews, and certificates of achievement. Think carefully if you plan to use a tablet, computer, or any other device for note-taking or reference during an interview. You don't want to waste any of the interviewer's time fumbling with it. Also, turn off your mobile phone. Be sure you know when and where the interview will be held. The worst way to start in any interview is to be late. Conduct yourself professionally while waiting. Show respect for everyone you encounter. Anything you do or say at this stage may get back to the interviewer, so make sure your best qualities show from the moment you enter the premises. At this point, you have a good sense of the overall process and know how to prepare for your interviews. The next step is to get familiar with the 3 stages of every interview: the warm-up, the question and answer session, and the close. Of the 3 stages, the warm-up is the most important, even though it may account for only a small fraction of the time you spend in the interview. Studies suggest that many interviewers make up their minds within the first 20 seconds of contact with a candidate. Don't let your guard down if the interviewer engages in what feels like small talk. These exchanges are every bit as important as structured questions. Questions and answers usually consume the greatest part of the interview. Depending on the type of interview, the interviewer will likely ask about your qualifications, discuss some of the points mentioned in your resume, and ask about how you have handled particular situations in the past or would handle them in the future. You'll also be asking questions of your own. Like the warm-up, the end of the interview is more important than its brief duration would indicate. These last few minutes are your final opportunity to emphasize your value to the organization and to correct any misconceptions the interviewer might have. Be aware that many interviewers will ask whether you have any more questions at this point, so save 1 or 2 from your list. Maintain a notebook or simple database with information about each company, interviewers' answers to your questions, contact information for each interviewer, the status of follow-up communication, and upcoming interview appointments. Carefully organized notes will help you decide which company is the right fit for you when it comes time to choose from among the job offers you receive. Staying in contact with a prospective employer after an interview shows that you really want the job and are determined to get it. Doing so also gives you another chance to demonstrate your communication skills and sense of business etiquette. Following up brings your name to the interviewer's attention once again and reminds him or her that you're actively looking and waiting for the decision. Anytime you hear from a company during the application or interview process, be sure to respond quickly. Companies flooded with resumes may move on to another candidate if they don't hear back from you within 24 hours. Send a follow-up message within 2 days of the interview, even if you feel you have little chance of getting the job. These messages are often referred to as thank you notes, but they give you an important opportunity to go beyond merely expressing your appreciation. You can use the message to reinforce the reasons you're a good choice for the position, modify any answers you gave during the interview if you realize you made a mistake or have changed your mind, and respond to any negatives that might have arisen in the interview. Email is usually acceptable for follow-up messages, unless the interviewer has asked you to use other media. If you're not advised of the interviewer's decision by the promised date or within 2 weeks, you might make an inquiry. A message of inquiry, which can be handled by email if the interviewer has given you his or her email address, is particularly appropriate if you've received a job offer from a second firm and don't want to accept it before you have an answer from the first. If you receive a job offer while other interviewers are still pending, you can ask the employer for a time extension. Open with a strong statement of your continued interest in the job, ask for more time to consider the offer, provide reasons for the request, and assure the reader that you will respond by a date. When you receive a job offer you want to accept, reply within 5 days. Begin by accepting the position and expressing thanks. Identify the job you're accepting. In the next paragraph, cover any necessary details. Conclude by saying that you look forward to reporting for work. As always, a positive letter should convey your enthusiasm and eagerness to cooperate. After all your interviews, you may find that you need to write a letter declining a job offer. Use the techniques for negative messages. Open warmly, state the reasons for refusing the offer, decline the offer explicitly, and close on a pleasant note that expresses gratitude. By taking the time to write a sincere letter, you leave the door open for a future contact. If you get a job offer while employed, you can maintain good relations with your current employer by writing a thoughtful letter of resignation to your immediate supervisor. Follow the advice for negative messages and make the letter sound positive, regardless of how you feel. Say something favorable about the organization, the people you work with, or what you've learned on the job. Then state your intention to leave and give the date of your last day on the job. Be sure you give your current employer at least 2 weeks' notice.